And we're back. Welcome to the Culture and Cannabis Podcast, everyone. Hope everyone's having a great Thursday. I'm one of your hosts, Full-Time Tony. I'm here with the young, fresh, meaty Jeffrey Coates. What's going on, brother?
What's good, baby?
How we doing?
In the podcast, man.
In the podcast. Who we have today, JC?
We have one of the most skilled growers that I've ever met. He's an amazing human being. On top of all that, his resume goes on and on and on. So we're going to dive into it. We have the incredible Paul Churchill in the building today.
What's going on, Paul? How we doing, sir?
Very well, and thank you for that introduction.
Of course, man.
Very
every
nice.
word of it.
Yeah, great to be here.
Yeah.
Part of the Culture and Cannabis Podcast. This is my first time doing this.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Hopefully not your last.
Hopefully not. Yeah.
So, let's just dive right into it. Vada, that's what we have on the table right now.
Yep.
Let's talk about it. So,
Sure.
New brand that you came out with.
Yep.
What's going on with it?
Well, we've built a state-of-the-art indoor 30,000 square foot facility. You guys got the opportunity to come by and check that out today.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, right on. So just launching this brand in the market. We've had a good response so far. We've actually been developing genetics for the last couple of years in a smaller section of the facility. We've built out the commercial side. So we're excited to get a lot of this stuff out in the market now. So far, it's at Las Vegas Relief, right here in Las Vegas, and Reef dispensaries, the dispensary, Mint. So we're kind of selective with the partners right now, but looking to expand that, as we get the whole operation scaled up.
I mean, the cannabis is phenomenal. Me and JC went to go look at it today, and I was just blown away. I'm a big fan of the nose, and my nose was everywhere.
I mean, it was
there.
crazy. Like we go into cultivations all the time, right? And some are kind of rough, and some are extremely beautiful, right?
It's so funny too, because when you go to the rough ones, you kind of have to act like you're like, yeah, I can see where there's some potential here.
And I have empathy, right? Because I know the process is extremely hard and difficult, and the new legal industry makes it difficult even more harder. But listen, they were opening the jars, right, of the finished product, and and every time you go to a cultivation, they're like, come over here and smell this.
Yeah.
And you smell it, and sometimes you're like, ooh, that smells good. But this one was like, whoa.
Yeah, like I could smell it through my mask.
Yeah, it was incredible.
I guess that's the test, right?
Yeah.
If you can smell it through your mask, we're doing something right.
It was, very terpy. We're talking with JJ over there.
Yep.
He was saying that, some of these strains are tested in low 30s, which is crazy to talk about, So talk about like the genetics you have going on over there and stuff of that nature.
Yeah, we've been developing these for a long time. So, there's probably 9 strains in-house right now that we're really excited about. Like you said, some of them are hitting, obviously THC is a big driver in this market, so that's a major focus. But we also pay attention to the total milligrams per gram terpenes that we see on the certificates of analysis.
Which is very important.
Absolutely. And then so those are the flavors, those are the aromas that you're getting, through your mask today. We've launched GMO, OG Kush, Cherry Punch, Cement Shoes, which is a nice indica. It's a whole variety, and we're going to continue that process. We bring everything up from seed, so it's we're not sourcing clones from anywhere. We pop seeds, multiple phenos of the same strain, same breeding cycle, and we have a very unique opportunity to have those analyzed by some really well-run third-party labs here in the state of Nevada. We're getting a lot of analytical data back on this stuff. It's one thing that was kind of missing from the California market when I was producing there. We just pretty much went off the visual, the smell test, how did it yield, and now we're diving deep into these strains, so we're getting a unique insight, so in the development process.
You think you can get way deeper insight from actually popping the seed and starting at that level, as opposed to buying genetics from a genetics company?
Sure, because it's phenotyping, where we take a batch of seeds from a specific breeding cycle, we pop those all together, and we actually do analytics on each one of those phenotypes. So it is pretty unique insight. We're not just taking one cut from one seed. We're popping a variety of seeds and seeing what is expressing itself. As far as cannabinoids and terpenes go, per strain.
Nice.
And so phenotyping, which I think is a thing that everybody likes the idea of, right? Like I think everyone thinks it's this cool thing, but it's a very difficult process.
Yeah, it's become a lot easier with a third-party lab testing everything, because we can definitively say, yes, this is the phenotype we're going to run with for this particular strain. It's a time-consuming process. We pop seeds that you go through a germination process, transition those into some sort of grow medium, veg those out, put them into flower, finally get large enough batches back so the lab can sample more than 1 5-pound lot. Hopefully they can sample as many lots as possible to get back the most comprehensive and sort of consistent data from each strain.
And I think it's so unique, like your perspective, and I think that just comes from the fact that you've been in the industry for so long.
Sure.
How long have you been in the industry for?
Well, I started as a patient grower in the early 2000s in California. And I did that for about 13 years, and then moved here to start Alternative Medicine Association in 2014. That was the first licensed cannabis company in Las Vegas. Opened up Euphoria Wellness, Inyo, and Las Vegas Relief. Finished the first commercial batches of medical marijuana in 2015 and opened those shops then. So it's been an amazing process from just having the first crops tested by a third-party lab and getting the opportunity to open those dispensaries up. Now working with Silver State Wellness Agricultural. That's where we launched all these brands here. You can see all the 2 roots. We did the first cannabis-infused beer. We've got Creative Waters now. It's a pretty interesting technology across all this. That's a whole other world outside of the cultivation process. But we've got gummies coming down the line now, a bunch of chocolates out there. So they'll kind of get the whole gambit of products here.
And I just want to quickly rewind for a second.
Sure.
Because you very humbly just said, like, yo, yeah, I had the first license in Nevada, no big deal. So I definitely want to go back to, like, okay, so AMA,
Yep.
right? And not that I want to talk about it for too long, but like just let's talk about it, right? Like, the idea that you had been growing since the early 2000s, and then you get this opportunity to come to Las Vegas. Like, just tell us about that.
Yeah, sure. I got to give a shout out to my Uncle Jay. He was the president of the Department of Agriculture here in Nevada. So I got the opportunity to fill out the application, and it was kind of like a long shot. We'll see what happens. The barrier of entry at that time was pretty low. They were just kind of issuing license out there. So we were pretty aggressive with the build out. I got the first crops planted here, and it was a very interesting process. In fact, I produced the first few crops before they even had a pesticide regulation. So I went off the 25B list. We didn't use anything synthetic. It was all biological type of insecticides and things. Those first tests, it's like, okay, I got this cannabis done. Now I'm going to have the lab come out and sample it. I don't think I slept for those 3 days while they were analyzing all that. Like, well, I hope this passes and all that. So, did well. And got my guy Joe LaMarca, who's the owner of Euphoria, was calling me every day, like, give me this, and the plants are going to kind of determine when I'm going to chop them down. I'll get it to you as soon as possible. And so we launched the Alternative Medicine Association flower there at Euphoria, and it's been great to be a part of the program ever since.
Yeah, and you talk about like. You're like patient zero, essentially, in a sense, right? Like, when it comes to growing cannabis in Nevada.
Yeah, it was. We went through the first everything, the regulation. In fact, I remember sitting around the table with state regulators, and they were saying, "Now, what the hell are you going to do here?" And you're going to take all those plants and do what with them now? So it was an amazing process. We got, we in addition to educating, the state of Nevada regulators, and it was at that time it was the Department of Health and Human Services overseeing the medical program here in Nevada. We got to grow some beautiful strains, a lot of stuff that I was familiar with at the time. And it was a similar to this. We're now launching with a whole big variety of strains. We'll start to hone that in a little bit and continue to develop genetics and test those against the ones that we currently have. It's exactly what we did at AMA.
And what's been okay? So like, we've been on this app called Clubhouse now, and so if we were in a Clubhouse room right now talking, I'd be like, "Yo, Paul Churchill, he's a real OG. Like that's a real OG right there." But I had this question come up in a group the other day, and it was someone asking like, "What's been your favorite time during the cannabis industry, since you got here?" I mean, you legitimately were like, you've been here since day zero, right? And
Sure.
so now you're here till this day, so you got to see it all.
Yeah.
So like, what was the most fun, or like, what was the most interesting time to be in cannabis?
That's a good question. It's a constant learning experience. So what I really liked was being able to, in kind of what we're doing now with Silver State Wellness and Vada, being able to see everything from seed to sale, being in control of the plant material all the way through the process, got into closed loop hydrocarbon extraction technology. I was doing extraction a lot different in California at the time. I tell the story sometimes. The first time I open blasted in my living room, I said, "This makes my apartment smell funny. I think I should probably do this on the patio moving forward." So to come here and have professionally engineered equipment that was, a lot of it is derived from the gas and oil industry, to be using the new equipment in a regulated environment with all the safety standards and everything. It kind of brought me full circle, like, well, what the hell was I doing in California? It's nice to be here in Nevada in this environment. So we brought Vader extracts out here from California,
Yep.
produced a lot of very nice connoisseur grade hash oil concentrates. That was a phenomenal experience and something I'm looking forward to doing here for the current company, Vada.
Nice.
Do you enjoy the cultivation side or the extraction side more?
It's cultivation side. It's sort of my wheelhouse. I do enjoy that. There's obviously a lot of data to pile up on the strains and analyzing yield and potency. Resistance to pest pathogens, processing times. Great. Developing all those strains and analyzing all of that. But there's the extraction world's amazing, especially with some of the variety of concentrates we use and the technology being used. There's a lot of development there. Of course, there's on both sides. The technology's exploding. The LEDs are kind of the new up and coming thing. I'm really looking forward to having LED technology in the garden, just from a sort of the green. It's more efficient. There's less draw. It's more eco-conscious, I guess you could say.
And so the counterpart to an LED is what are those lights called?
HPS, or high pressure sodium.
And HPS.
Yep.
And so like and the reason why the HPSs aren't as good as the LEDs is because they're not as full spectrum of the light.
So, and that's one thing. You can certainly have a multi-spectrum high-pressure sodium light. It just pulls a lot of energy. It puts off a lot of heat. So, in addition to pulling more power, you've got to have more robust mechanical systems to cool down your grow environment. So, it's kind of a double whammy. So if we can switch over to LEDs, there's less BTU load or heat coming off of the lights. You need less HVAC to cool that down, so it's more efficient.
So is it a higher barrier to entry? Or like they're more expensive, probably?
Absolutely.
But then they're less expensive to run, right?
In the long run, absolutely, yeah. So the high pressure sodium fixtures are inexpensive. So, but yeah, those LEDs are they've come down in price, but they're still certainly they're probably 3 times the cost of a HPS fixture.
Yeah.
What's so funny is that me and JC have a set questions that we ask people at cultivations. Me and JC know a little bit, but we're pretty much just shooting the dark. We're just hoping we can put people on their toes. And I always ask so you're running you're not running LED in here. Tell me why not? And every single person gives me the same answer, because they're so fucking expensive.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm okay, well, I'm gonna keep asking it though, just so I sound smart.
Yeah. You've moved from the humidity.
I used to ask people what kind of humidity you run in here?
What is the humidity level in here?
Yeah.
It feels kind of dry.
Yeah,
right now.
it feels like it's underneath 60% for sure. Which kind of leads me to my next question. So, like, you know, since you've been in the garden for so long, for guys like me and JC who are, you know, newbies when it comes to cultivation, what should we be looking for? Like when we're looking at plants, right? Like, what are some like key indicators?
Like the first thing that you walk into.
Yeah,
what do you look
like
at?
if we're gonna go buy some weed, and we're like not buy weed, but we're gonna look at like crops to buy. What should we like be looking at?
Well, you know, everyone has their own preference. You know, everyone talks about, oh, indica and sativa, and, you know, those, every person, I feel, reacts a little bit differently to every strain. And, you know, I'm sure terpenes play a role in that. Certainly the cannabinoids, you know, present in the plants play a role in that. But indica sativa, for me, is an indicator of how is this plant going to grow? Is it going to be kind of low, stockier, smaller internodal spacing, or is this thing going to stretch like most sativas would? So, you know, the first question is, you know, indica or sativa? Well, you know, it's kind of up to the user. But, you know, looking at there's 144 known cannabinoids, right? Yeah. And, you know, they only test for a handful of them. I think those have the most medical benefits. So it's kind of, what are you looking for? Do you have ailments that you're battling that you're using cannabis for? Is this a recreational thing? You know, so it's, you know, kind of up to the user, I guess, you know, what they're looking for in the market.
And then from a growing side, right? Like, what if you go into a cultivation? Maybe you're doing some consulting. What do you look at first? Like, what are the things that you're looking at first with a plant?
You know, obviously overall plant health. You know, there's a lot of things that affect that. Balancing the environment is probably one of the most important aspects of it. So, do you have the, for instance, our indoor? You know, it's pretty easy to calculate how much cooling are you going to need to take care of this environment. What does your humidification system look like? What does your dehumidification system look like? Are you enriching with CO2? You know, there's a whole handful of things, but one of the most critical elements across the board for cannabis cultivation is the environment. You could probably feed a pretty basic plant nutrition recipe. If your environment's off, you know, the plants aren't going to uptake like they should. So, you know, recognizing the total environment between plant nutrition up to, you know, the whole environment in the grow
up to the
space.
humidity and
I was going to drop that. Yeah, go there, it's like, so humidity and lighting is what you're saying then, Paul.
Right.
But like, I feel like, you know, when me and JC go to cultivations, like me and JC, like we're like looking at these plants, because like I guess too, and I know this sounds, I told you today, it's not like scientific or anything, but you can just kind of tell when the plants are more like happy,
sure.
Right? Like you can just kind of feel the energy in the room. I know that's so weird to say, but like there's a different energy when you walk into a room of unhappy plants.
Yeah, absolutely. You can feel it, and you know, we call it praying to the gods. If the plants are happy, they're sort of reaching up toward the light.
Yeah.
You know, they look lively. That's a good indicator.
Praying to the gods. I'm gonna start using that.
There you go.
So let me ask you: are your plants praying to the gods?
Because right now,
Because it looks
straight
like
to hell.
It looks like they're kneeling right now.
Let me ask you this: so you know, you've been in the cannabis industry for, gosh, did you say 20 years, basically?
Oh yeah, was it 2021 now? Yeah.
21 years.
It's 21 years is a long time, and you've had the opportunity to blast on your balcony to now
Right.
run
Hate to admit that,
the
but yes,
hydrocarbon
yes, I
machine at Silver State, right, at the highest level, right? And you've been through this whole journey. I'd like to hear about like kind of like your fulfillment level as you've kind of progressed through the industry. What are some of the things that's made you the most happiness in your journey?
Yeah.
That's a great question, JC.
Definitely.
Yeah.
The technology, I mean, it's absolutely amazing. I went from using a big long glass tube and 12-ounce cans of butane to, you know, truly engineered, properly built technology. That's just on the extraction side. And being on the cutting edge, you guys came over to the grow today, you saw our, you know, the pretty unique mechanical setup there, and something I wouldn't have thought about 20 years ago. So constantly being on the cutting edge of technology and paying attention to that, seeing where this is all going. We haven't even reached the pinnacle of that yet.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm excited to see where this industry goes. Certainly with the development of LED lights, I'm excited to see multi-spectrum LED lights. One thing I'd love to be able to do is have an LED where I can control the spectrum throughout the flower cycle. Right now, we grow under one spectrum, and it is what it is. But to be able to mimic what's happening with the Earth, actually, to get into the whole science of this, the Earth tilts back and forth, and as that happens, the spectrum of light coming through the atmosphere changes. To sort of mimic that with the use of an LED to give the plants the environment that they've the lineage of the plants went through on Earth as they developed. I think might help express some of the potency, the cannabinoids and terpenes that come out of the plant. So excited to see where the technology from both the cultivation and extraction side go.
Yeah,
I think that's super interesting. Like the idea that. And I guess it makes sense. Obviously the nature knows best,
yeah, absolutely.
Right? Like nature knows how to grow plants the best, grow trees the best, right? So, but it's just so interesting because you're right, because as technology grows, you're gonna be able to mimic as close to a perfect environment outside, minus bugs for the most part.
And that's the whole battle, right? That's what you guys are trying to accomplish every day inside that indoor grow is to mimic the natural.
Exactly right, and that happens naturally in a greenhouse or outdoor. You get that. Being in Las Vegas, I know there's some agricultural land out in the Pahrump area, sure. but being here in Las Vegas, the environment's very harsh. So all of us here are indoors. So being able to mimic what happens in nature indoors is an interesting scenario.
Nice.
And then as far as so do you believe then there are the best way to grow is then outdoor then? In a not I guess a perfect environment doesn't exist outdoors, right? But is there a place I guess where you could just throw some seeds and it's gonna grow some
sure.
pretty decent bud?
Absolutely. That happens in numerous places all over the world. So that the strains that have naturally occurred outside have they're sort of the landrace strains. They're from all over the world. It's great to be indoors actually, especially in Nevada, because of the analytical testing that happens. So the effort for me when I looked at the regs and sort of started to understand what the labs were going to be testing for, I realized this was. It was pretty stringent. There was very low tolerances for everything. So being able to participate in the medical program showed me a lot. I went to an all synthetic medium. We couldn't use beneficial bacteria as a biological insecticide on the plants. So everything had to be super clean, and so that's what these facilities are as close to medical grade as possible. I think at the end of the day, it truly benefits the consumer because there are some very sick people out there that rely on this. And so delivering them the cleanest, purest, most dynamic medicine is very important to me.
Amen.
Yeah. I know, shouts out. I know it's heartbreaking that the medical side of cannabis here has died out
in Nevada,
and once rec hit, and I think
sure.
it should. It goes down the regulations, right? The fact that so. And correct me if I'm wrong, but if you want to grow a medical plant, it has to be tagged from when that clipping is. So your blue metric tag, it's a yellow metric tag when it's medical.
Yeah, when it's medical, sure.
Yeah, and so as soon as it's a clipping, you have to make that a yellow metric tag. You can't just switch that at the end.
Yeah, exactly. So you designate it immediately as a medical plant, and a lot of the facilities have switched over to all recreational. There's certainly some that do medical growing, but the majority, it's all rec. Same exact product, same exact process, same everything, just tagged differently. Same testing. We do produce some medical products in our production facility, but medical cannabis is rec users are using medical cannabis.
So if the medical cannabis, what is the main differences? Can only a medical patient buy it if it's a medical plant?
Yeah, so if it's tagged as medical and it's sold to the dispensary as medical, then yeah, medical patients would have access to that. I think it's much more common in the production world when we're talking about milligrams per unit. You can buy a much higher milligram. In fact, we produce a Vada chocolate bar that's 500 milligrams of THC and 50 milligrams CBD.
And then, but at the end of the day, for the retailers, they're moving to just a straight recreational because there's just more consumers in that area.
Exactly.
Right?
It's a market demand thing. There's a lot of patients. There were many more patients before the medical program started. There's still a good patient base in Nevada.
Yeah.
And certainly you can probably find medical products across the
And you guys make the 500 milligram bar?
We do. Yeah. I thought I brought a sample of that up.
Where are those available at?
We sell those at Las Vegas Relief.
Okay. This is the 100, but you do the 500 milligram just for the patients.
We do. Absolutely.
That's dope.
And so when a plant, so like you grow, does that medical plant have to be designated to become oil or like distillate?
It would. Yep.
So you can't take a recreational plant and turn it into medical distillate.
You can take a medical plant and turn it into recreational distillate, but not the other way around.
Got it.
Yep.
Which is so crazy to me because it's just like it doesn't make any sense. Like why wouldn't it just be a universal tag that once it got to the end of the line, then you could just say, hey, this is gonna go medical, this is go recreational.
Sure.
It doesn't make any sense. Like it's like you said, it's all the same thing. And the biggest reason why is because like it doesn't really matter on cultivation side. It matters on the edible side, right? Because there's when we were in Oklahoma, it made a lot of sense. I was meeting with patients who said like, yo, like think about having only 10 milligrams, 100 milligrams in a bar where I'll have to eat the whole bar to even feel something, right? Where they need 1,000 milligram or 2,500 milligram bar, so they can just eat one piece and they don't have to spend as much money and the calories too, right? Some of these people are they can't have sugar, they can't have gluten, they have other dietary needs. So I just think it's so important that hopefully in the future that we can bring back or change some regs to make a medical program thrive here, because I feel like it's so important for the cannabis industry.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they still do, but reciprocity existed during the medical days.
It still does.
It still does. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So there's a bit of a market there, but it's amazing. Some people come to Las Vegas. Some of the tourists here, and they're like, "What? Marijuana's legal?" Like they don't even know it. Yeah. So it's about educating the nation, saying, "Come to Las Vegas and enjoy some medical or recreational cannabis." It's all over the place.
It looks like that's what's going to happen, though. It looks like we're going to become the Amsterdam of America if lounges happen. That's what I feel, right? I feel like we could easily become.
I think it'll feel more like Vegas and Amsterdam, but
it'd be the Vegas of America. But we'll just become the cannabis capital of the world.
Yeah,
I think we'll just, and once conventions. I mean, I think. Not that we are the cannabis capital of the world, but like so many conventions were happening here, and the biggest one, MJ BizCon, happens here, so it kind of like makes it. But once these lounges happen, I think it's going to be a game changer.
Absolutely.
So I have a question here. All right, so let's take all this stuff off the table.
Yeah.
Right? Let's drop $1 billion in your pocket.
Okay.
Right? You can move anywhere in the world that you want to do solely to grow cannabis.
Yeah.
Where would you grow it? And then what kind of medium would you use? Indoor, outdoor, or greenhouse light deb?
Well, so it was certainly, from a yield perspective, I'd prefer to grow in a light deb greenhouse.
Okay.
There's a lot of control there, and you can certainly have environmental control, utilize, the sun, which is great, cut down on costs. Growing as efficiently as possible is important to me. Conserving energy, conserving water, very important. I've been doing this in a multitude of ways over the years, mostly indoor, just because of the nature of the business, and it always bugged me how much how much energy was consumed in doing all of this. So $1 billion, wow, I'd probably take a vacation briefly, but yeah,
a 1-year vacation.
Yeah. I'm ecstatic to be in Las Vegas.
Nice.
I love this city. I love the state of Nevada. It's very unique. I think you hit on something. It's sort of the Amsterdam. There's so much tourism. There's so much. we're kind of a global destination. So having the opportunity to launch a brand here is absolutely amazing. You can certainly grow some phenomenal cannabis, like in Washington, Oregon, even in the Petaluma Gap in California. Amazing growers up there, and huge cannabis agricultural land all over the place. But like in Oregon, they grow. There's my buddy just went up there. He said he was buying $300 pounds retail.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's
insane.
Crazy. It's insane.
It's just because of a saturated market. So to be here, to be in Las Vegas, and to have the opportunity to operate in this market, I wouldn't change it for the world.
That's beautiful, Matt. That's a great answer, and we need guys like you here. You know what I mean?
You have to lead the way, man, and you have to lead the way, man. So thank you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for helping build this industry.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks for coming on the
It's been a
podcast.
privilege, been an honor. Yeah,
I'm
love
really
being here with Culture and Cannabis today.
I'm really excited to check out Vada too. I mean,
Right on.
I mean, the flower that we saw today was
Phenomenal.
Madonna,
it's
man.
just
Jeez.
it's just it's just special, right?
Yes.
You could just tell. It just looks better, smells better. I'm sure it's going to taste better too.
Yeah, I think it's gonna smell good too. Paul, where can they find you? Where can they find the brand?
Sure.
Plug yourself.
Okay, sure. So obviously our in-house dispensary is Las Vegas Relief. So abundance of all these products you see here are available at that dispensary. We're in Hardin. We're in the dispensary in Mint. We're in let me think here. Top Notch, been a big supporter of us. Got to give a shout out to Top Notch. They've
Shouts
got
out.
a great local following, great staff over there. We're excited to be partnering up with them. And in addition to the flower and all the beverages and the edibles you see here today, we're going to be launching Vada extracts. So we'll have those beautiful hash oil concentrates, crumble, shatter, sugar, diamonds, all that be hitting here in the next month or two. Excited to get some of these strains into extraction column, kind of seeing how they formulate and, bringing those super dynamic terpene-loaded terpenes to the Las Vegas market.
Beautiful.
Dope. Thank you so much, Paul. I really
Absolutely.
appreciate it.
My
Thank you,
pleasure.
Paul.
I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it. Oh, wait, where can they find it on Instagram? At Vada? Is that
Vada Cannabis.
Vada
at
Cannabis.
Vada Cannabis?
You bet.
Got it. Dope. JC,
What's good, brother?
what do we have going on? Next week we're going to be in LA, California,
We're
San
gonna
Diego.
We're gonna go to
Where are we going?
Chula Vista. Chula Vista. Bro.
It's like on the border of. I was looking at the map. I was like, man, this is really close to Mexico.
It is. It's almost.
Are we,
like
are, we
Mexico.
gonna, are we gonna get really good Mexican food down there? You think?
I think that's
Some
definitely gonna
fire
happen.
burritos.
Yeah.
I heard California's locked down though. I'm a little nervous.
I mean,
It'll be fine.
it'll be okay.
We didn't get the nicest car. We didn't get the cheapest car, but we got the middle rental car. So I'm excited to see what that
We
is.
should have got the nice one, man.
It was like an extra like $50. I was like, you know what? The $50 we can get some. I was literally thinking to myself, like, we can get burritos for $50. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
We get some dank
About
flour.
40
down-
of them.
Yeah, we can get a $20 eighth and some burritos.
Okay, now you're talking my level
We
English.
call it a good time. So yes, so if you're in Orange County, San Diego, even LA, we might head up all the way up there. Reach out to us. We're looking to connect with as many people in the industry down there, just trying to learn more and explore.
And because here's the deal, we're the beast that California is. We're gonna strike first blood.
We're gonna ride that bull. You know,
We're gonna jump on it and start small, build out community base, right? Make some connections and build it upon relationships and just stay committed and bring the Culture and Cannabis brand out to Cali.
That's pretty much it. I mean, Culture is Food. There's a new episode that's gonna be coming out this week. I feel like I had something else I wanted to say too. Check out all of our influencer videos. We've had some really cool. We made one today with Paul, which is gonna be really dope.
Yeah.
The blogs, our websites, is
rocking and rolling.
we have two new writers that we brought on staff not on staff, but that we're featuring this next month. And so just check out the blogs. We're starting to build one of the biggest writer communities in the cannabis world today. So check out on some of those amazing stories.
Come find us on Clubhouse.
Find us on Clubhouse.
Come find us on Clubhouse. We can do this live. I don't know. Go Bills. Go fucking Buffalo Bills. Listen, we got a big game on Sunday, okay? We got to play the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes, we'll see how he plays. But there's a lot riding on this. 25 years since, I think it's 24 years since we've been in the 26 years since we've been in the Super Bowl. And we gotta take home the W. So I need everyone's prayer and support. If you're a Kansas City fan, I'm sorry, but the Bills are gonna whoop that ass this weekend. So that's pretty much all I have to say.
Okay.
We'll find out next week. I'll either be crying or really happy with the results.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.
I'm just gonna call you on Monday.
It's probably your best idea. I'll probably be recovering from Sunday night, honestly, on Monday. But that's it. That's the Culture and Cannabis podcast. Paul, thank you so much once again.
Thank you.
You can find me on Instagram at fulltimetony. Find JC at jc.coates. Follow Culture and Cannabis at Culture and Cannabis. And that's the show. We'll see you guys next Thursday. Peace.
Adios.